Life doesn't get easier. You get colder, stronger, quieter, and smarter. If you're watching this, it's because something inside you knows you are not like them. You were never meant to blend in. You were built for depth in a world obsessed with surface. And that is why you suffer. Because deep thinkers don't just think, they feel, they observe. They carry the weight of unspoken truths in a world addicted to distractions. But listen carefully. That pain you carry isn't a weakness. It's a signal. A divine alarm. That you were born to build a mind so fortified the noise of the world can't touch it. This is not a motivational video. This is a transformation. Let me tell you the truth no one ever dares to speak. The deeper your mind, the darker your path. Because the crowd only respects what it understands, and it fears what it cannot control. You will be misunderstood, mocked, isolated, but what they call loneliness, we call solitude, and solitude is where deep thinkers become weapons. The average man numbs himself with validation. The deep thinker, he sharpens in silence. So the first mental habit you must forge: discomfort, discipline. Sit with it, all of it. When you feel the panic creeping in, don't escape it. Don't scroll. Don't smoke. Don't distract. Breathe. Let it burn. Because every time you survive your mind without running, you build resilience. And soon, the things that used to break you will kneel at your feet. You want real strength? Then stop expecting ease. You want to be unshakable? Then you must enter the fire. Willingly. There's a reason Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in battlefields, not libraries. Because true thought isn't sterile. It's forged in chaos. With blood. With tears. With brutal clarity. The second mental weapon you need is emotional alchemy. The system taught you that emotions are weaknesses. So you were told to man up, get over it, stay strong. But they lied. They wanted you numb, because a numb man doesn't rebel. But a deep thinker, he doesn't suppress pain. He transforms it. Jealousy becomes fuel. Rejection becomes focus. Abandonment becomes independence. Everything becomes firewood, even heartbreak. You don't let it break you. You let it build you. Because pain is not the enemy. Comfort is. Think of Epictetus. A slave. Beaten, bound. Yet mentally freer than emperors. Why? Because he mastered one principle. They can hurt your body, but not your mind. Repeat that. Not your mind. Do you understand the power in that? When you stop giving your mind to anyone who offends you, leaves you, or overlooks you, you reclaim total sovereignty. They don't want you to know this. Because a man who thinks deeply and feels fearlessly, he cannot be manipulated. And here's the forbidden truth. The system depends on your distraction. On your shallowness. On your obedience. But once you awaken as a deep thinker, you start seeing through their games, and they can't stand it. They will call you arrogant, too intense, too much, good. Let them. Because while they chase dopamine, you're stacking discipline. While they gossip, you observe in silence. While they beg for attention, you disappear to master your craft. And one day, you return. Stronger. Sharper. Untouchable. So here's your first mission. Every time life punches you in the face, don't flinch. Smile. Because this is training. And every storm you survive is another layer of armor. You're not falling behind. You're falling into yourself. You're not weak for overthinking. You're powerful for feeling what others avoid. Now breathe. Let that sink in. Because this isn't the end. It's the beginning. The war has just begun. And in part 2, we go deeper. Into the forgotten strategies that make deep thinkers impossible to control. The rules they never wanted you to hear. The ones that turn quiet minds into unstoppable forces. You will face storms. Not the kind that come from the sky, but the ones that shatter your identity. The moments that tear through your illusions like blades. You thought the pain was punishment, but it was instruction. You thought the silence meant defeat, but it was preparation. This is how deep thinkers are forged, not in comfort, but in collapse. So here's the next brutal truth: you will be broken, but only so you can be rebuilt without the lies. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spoke softly, who walked humbly. But when he entered a room, kings grew uneasy. That man was Leonardo da Vinci, painter, mathematician, inventor, philosopher, but most of all, A deep thinker. He wasn't loud. He wasn't aggressive. But his mind, terrifyingly independent. The church couldn't bribe him. The state couldn't control him. Because his thoughts belonged to no one but him. And that made him dangerous. So here's the third habit: mental ownership. You must own your inner world. Your beliefs, your doubts, your values. They must be yours. Not inherited. Not downloaded. Not forced upon you by parents, teachers, influencers. You were not born to be programmed. You were born to question everything. Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you chase what you chase? Why do you fear what you fear? The moment you ask those questions, the old world begins to crack, and through those cracks, the real you emerges. Not the obedient version, not the polite version, but the raw, thinking, untamed version. You start to realize how many of your dreams were planted in you by people who never dreamed themselves. And you begin to delete the noise, the conditioning, the poison. You become minimalist, not in style, but in thought. And with every layer you shed, you become clearer, sharper, more lethal. Now here's the next mental weapon: strategic detachment. A deep thinker knows when to disappear, when to withdraw, when to stop explaining. You see, you don't owe everyone access to your mind. Most people don't want to understand you. They want to feel comfortable around you. So when your truth becomes too heavy, they'll tell you you're too intense, too negative, too serious. But that's their defense mechanism, their fear of depth. Let them drown in shallow waters. You were made for oceans. Detach not because you're cold, but because you're focused. Detachment is not apathy. It's strategy. You don't cut people off to be cruel. You distance yourself to stay sane. To protect the fortress you're building. Because the more your mind grows, the more your environment must evolve. You can't plant seeds in poisoned soil and expect a forest. You can't expand your vision in rooms filled with noise. So you go quiet, and that quiet becomes power. And now I'll give you something they'll never teach in schools: the Black Mirror principle. Every insult, every betrayal, every projection thrown at you is a mirror, not of you, but of them. When someone mocks your discipline, they reveal their laziness. When someone shames your solitude, they expose their dependence. When someone fears your depth, they admit their shallowness. Don't react. Don't defend. Observe. Decode. This is mental warfare, and here's where it gets dark. Most people don't want you to change, because your transformation exposes their stagnation. So they'll joke. They'll downplay. They'll provoke. All to pull you back into the box you just broke out of. You were never meant to escape, but you did. And now, you must move differently. Stop debating. Start evolving. Stop proving. Start building. Because when a deep thinker enters their prime, they stop trying to be understood. They start becoming undeniable. So here's your command for today. Silence is your ally. Solitude is your training ground. And the mind is your battlefield. Train it like a warrior. Guard it like a fortress. Wield it like a blade. And don't stop. Not until the voice in your head speaks louder than the noise around you. Because part 3 is coming, and it holds the final codes. The dark truths and timeless laws that every deep thinker must obey, to remain unshakable. They called you too quiet, too intense, too distant. But they never realized, you were just focused. A deep thinker doesn't waste breath on noise. He conserves his energy like a hunter in the wild. He doesn't rush to prove. He waits, then strikes with precision. You don't think fast. You think deep. And in a world that worships speed, that makes you dangerous. Let's go further. Because now, you're ready for the final weapons. The next mental mastery is something no one talks about, because it gives you too much power. It's called the shadow contract. This is not a theory. It's a truth you've lived. Every deep thinker carries a shadow, a dark side, not evil, just unaccepted. The parts of you that were rejected, your anger, your pain, your rage, your rebellion. They buried it, shamed it, told you to calm down, be nice, stay in line. And so you split. One part of you smiles, the other part simmers. But now, it's time to reunite. Because here's the truth: your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your power source. The rage you suppress? It's the fire you need to set boundaries. The sadness you ignore, it's the depth that gives your mind its edge. The chaos you fear, it's the fuel for your clarity. You don't need to destroy your shadow. You need to make a contract with it. When triggered, don't run. Don't explode. Just observe. Ask it, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to protect? Because every dark feeling is just light in disguise, twisted by pain, waiting to be understood. Deep thinkers don't suppress the storm, they ride it. You cannot master your mind until you've faced your shadow and claimed it fully. Let me take you even deeper. This one will disturb you, but it will also free you. The next principle is radical responsibility. Nobody is coming to save you. No mentor. No lover. No government. No friend. That realization, it will either break you or wake you. Blaming is a luxury the deep thinker cannot afford. You take it all: the betrayal, the delay, the injustice, the trauma. You take it all, and you say, "Good. Now it's mine. Let me use it." This world is built to make you a victim, because victims don't fight back. But the moment you say, "Everything is my responsibility," you stop being a pawn, and you become a player. That's when your mind becomes a weapon. Every scar becomes a blueprint. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes leverage. You become unstoppable. Let me tell you about a man named Viktor Frankl. A psychiatrist. A thinker. A Jew who survived Auschwitz. He watched his family die. He was starved, beaten, humiliated. Yet he said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." That's the code. That's the power. To choose your mindset, even in hell. That's mental warfare. And now, the final insight. The one they'll never let you post without getting flagged. It's called the isolation advantage. You're not broken because you feel alone. You're breaking through. Solitude is not punishment. It's the womb of greatness. All great minds, Nietzsche, Miyamoto Musashi, Tesla, Jung, they walked alone. Not because they wanted to, but because the world couldn't walk with them. The path of the deep thinker is narrow. It has no crowd. No applause. No shortcuts. But what it does have is power. Real power. Not likes, not fame, not clout, but sovereignty, command, peace. And the only way to get there is to stop fearing isolation. Because when the world goes quiet, you finally hear your own voice. And that voice, it's the one that's been waiting to lead you, not to comfort, but to conquest. The thinker who learns to walk alone, learns to walk anywhere. So now I ask you, will you keep betraying your depth just to belong? Or will you walk the lonely path that leads to total power? Because part 4 is the end, and the beginning, the final war cry. The call to build your mind into a fortress. No pain, no betrayal, no lie can enter. You've been quiet long enough. You've doubted long enough. You've played small long enough. Now it ends. Because this is your moment of no return. Right here. Right now. You stop being who they told you to be, and start becoming what you were always meant to be. A weapon. A fortress. A storm and silence. You want to know what separates the shallow from the deep. It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's courage. Courage to see what others avoid. Courage to feel what others fear. Courage to stand alone, even when the world begs you to kneel. Deep thinkers don't escape reality. They face it, with raw eyes and bloody knuckles. And they don't chase happiness. They build meaning. Because here's the last forbidden truth: you were never meant to be happy all the time. You were meant to be powerful. And power doesn't come from ease. It comes from exposure. To pain. To truth. To reality. Unfiltered. You will be misunderstood. You will be hated for your clarity. But you will never be broken, because your mind is yours. You trained it. You suffered for it. You earn it. So when they come at you with lies, you don't flinch. When they withdraw their love, you stay rooted. When life crumbles around you, you breathe and walk forward. Because nothing controls the man who controls his mind. You are that man now, not tomorrow, not when you figure it all out. Now, you don't need another book, another course, another motivational reel. You need one thing: commitment. Commitment to walk the hard road with a straight spine and a silent mind. Commitment to the truth, even when it hurts. Commitment to solitude, even when it stings. Commitment to growth, even when it rips you open. Because comfort is a coffin, and silence is sacred. You were not built to chase approval. You were built to become undeniable. So from this day forward, you speak less. You observe more. You move with intent. You don't chase, you attract through discipline. You don't argue, you evolve in silence. You don't panic, you calculate. You don't react, you respond. Because deep thinkers don't live by emotion, they command it. And now, here's your final battle cry. You are the watcher of your thoughts, the architect of your focus, the guardian of your attention, the king of your mental kingdom. Your mind is not a playground. It's a battlefield. It's a forge. It's a throne. And from this moment on, you build it. Unbreakable. Comment if this awakens something inside you. Like if you've been carrying this fire in silence. Subscribe if you're done playing small. This isn't just content. This is the call. To the thinkers. To the misfits. To the warriors with minds too vast for the world to handle. You're not alone. You're just early. And when they finally understand you, it'll be too late. Because you didn't wait. You became. Now go. Build. Lead. Live. Your mind is your greatest fortress. Build it unbreakable.